All right, so let's go ahead and talk about Resident Evil Requiem. So, there was a lot of information that had been released when in regards to this game, and for some reason, yesterday they decided to drop all kinds of articles and everything like that, which I thought was pretty interesting. And yeah, man, this is another game that I'm very much looking forward to. I know it's the ninth installment when it comes down to the Resident Evil franchise, but I feel like they're able to do a lot of good things with the looks of it, and it has my interest, man. It has me excited to see what's gonna come of this game and how they're gonna go about it. Now, with some of the articles that I've been seeing here, I'm just gonna go over a few of them, just kind of check out some of the titles and everything like that, kind of discuss some of my thoughts on them, and then decided to go from there. So one of the first ones I was able to see was just right here. Resident Evil Requiem producer details his plans to keep players terrified throughout. And that was one of the things I'm very much enjoying. I'm loving the fact that, Resident Evil is kind of going a little bit more into the horror aspect of the franchise. And obviously with this franchise and everything, it is one of those situations where they tend to go back and forth when it comes down to action and horror, sometimes doing like a little bit of a good balance between the two. Now personally, I don't mind either or. I love the action aspect of the game that they're able to put through it, like with Resident Evil 4, when the OG, when the fact that they changed it back then to that kind of aspect, and even somewhat with Resident Evil 3, because obviously you're getting chased by Nemesis and everything like that. So you do have to be careful because you are having this giant brooding monster that's following you constantly. But at the same time, they were able to add some aspects of it to be a little bit more of a action type of game, which I thought was pretty cool and interesting. The fact that they decided to go that route. So the fact that they're trying to working towards having a little bit more of like a horror and action balance, I think is really cool, and that's what it seems like they're going to be going from for when it comes down to this. One of the executive producers was kind of mentioning that he did want to have it so that you were going to get scared throughout the game, but sprinkle in some little aspects of action in it, which I thought was good. And then one of the other articles here, so Capcom addresses Resident Evil Requiem Leon photos. So this is something that's interesting. So there's been a lot of rumors. For anyone that doesn't know, I've even done some videos on it in regards to Leon being included in this game. Now, originally, before any information was released, there was rumors that it was going to be Leon in this game as well as Jill Valentine. Now, as you can see with the trailer and everything, they're going with Grace Ashcroft, and that's awesome. You know what I mean, that we're getting a new character who has some ties to one of the previous characters from Resident Evil Outbreak, which I thought was cool. Now, personally, Jill is my favorite female character in the Resident Evil franchise. I think it's got to go Jill and then Ada. But yeah, I was excited initially to see that they were going to be including her in this game. It was going to be her and then Leon. I thought that would have been so cool to kind of have them either team up or just kind of give their own story. But alas, that isn't the case. They decided to go with the new character. And that's not necessarily a bad thing or anything like that. But there is a lot of speculation that Leon is going to be in this game still. And personally, I'm kind of I kind of have a feeling that that's going to be the case. So, as you can see right here, one of the lead producers, Kumazawa, was stating right here, so please, unless it's officially released by Capcom, we can't give you any confirmation. He clarified, these are all fake news. And I don't know, man, just from that statement alone, if it isn't officially released by Capcom, we can't give you any confirmation, kind of has me feeling in the sense that if that is the case, then yeah, that's fine. But I kind of feel like he's making this statement to kind of be like, hey, if Capcom doesn't officially come out and state it, then you're just gonna have to assume that it's wrong, even if it's not. So I feel like with the way it was stated, there is a little bit of possibility that Leon could still be included in this game. Now, the reasoning behind it that they've stated is because they don't want to have a character like Leon who's been through so much be put in a situation like this, because it's not going to be too scary for him. With Grace, the new character that they're including, she doesn't know this world. She hasn't been through this type of stuff. So her going through it all is going to be like kind of the perspective of a player that is experiencing this for the first time. So it is quite understandable if they're going to decide to go that route. So I can kind of see where they're coming from if they wanted to go that in that kind of aspect of it. But at the same time, it has been stated, like I said before, that the lead producer was stating that he does want to have horror aspects of the game while sprinkling in some aspects of action. So that is another thing that kind of leaves me a little bit skeptical as to Leon not being included, because of the fact that they could do something, I feel like, where they have you play as Grace, you go through the horror aspects and then switch over to Leon and kind of have some more of the action, because that was one of the rumors that was going around initially before any more information was had come out about this game, even before like the trailer and all that, was that you were going to be playing as Jill and then you were going to be playing as Leon and you can switch between the two. So I don't know. There hasn't really been too much information in regards to that. So I feel like that is a possibility that that could still be happening with that. And then one of the other things we had gotten right here. So Capcom says it's confident Resident Evil Requiem won't suffer from Monster Hunter Wild style PC performance issues. Now, that was one of the things that they were stating about Monster Hunter Wilds, was the fact that that game was having a lot of issues as far as bugs, crashing, all that type of stuff. So they're kind of anticipating that they aren't going to have any issues like that with this game. Now, I have faith in that, just because of the fact that, with Resident Evil games, they tend to do fairly well in regards to making sure that it's pretty complete before release. So if that is the case, I feel like that's something they probably haven't into consideration, especially if they've had this be an issue in the past with Monster Hunter Wilds. And I don't know, I feel like Monster Hunter Wilds is a game that would have more understanding as to why it would be crashing and everything like that, because of the fact that they're like bigger creatures and running around. Whereas Resident Evil, they tend to be more in like a specific setting and everything like that. It isn't nothing too crazy going on. Yeah, you're fighting some monsters that might be like bigger creatures and stuff like that. But I feel like with the way that they've been handling this game, it's I feel like we're in good hands in that aspect. And then one of the other articles we got here, so leaked photos of Leon, and just one of the statements I wanted to go over right here. So, uh, Kurakawa, I believe it was the same individual that was talking about this, says, "We make sure that players who didn't play Outbreak and players who have played Outbreak will both be able to enjoy it as much as they can. The reason why we chose Alyssa was just because she was just a victim of the Raccoon City incident. She had a clear aim and clear motive, so she was very just easy to introduce in this scenario." And that, I like that, man. I like the fact that they are including someone that does have ties to Raccoon City, as well as the fact that they're going to be including Raccoon City, so bringing it back was is really cool. I like that aspect of it. And then there was another quote right here. So apart from any official information Capcom has released, the rest is more detective work on the part of the players. So I would suggest to please not take everything at face value. And this is them discussing, with Leon being included and everything like that. So considering that now is the time when AI can be used to make videos and photos, we don't know what's right and what's wrong. It's just that players are free to believe what they would like to believe. What I'd like to tell is that please, unless it's official release from Capcom, we can't give you any confirmation. There's been a photo lately of Leon with an eye patch and just basically saying there's a DLC or new costume of Leon, but just to make sure, these are all fake news. And this is a weird one, just because of the fact that the fact that they bring up AI, I don't know, man. That kind of has me a little bit more skeptical as to like being like, if they're gonna bring up AI for some reason, I'm thinking they're just trying to use that as an excuse to be like, no, this is fake. There's AI and stuff like that. When in reality, it probably is a set photo from them. And again, I understand why they wouldn't want to include him if they wanted to make it just full on horror. But I love Leon, man. He's my favorite character in the Resident Evil franchise, and probably one of my favorite video game characters altogether. So if they're gonna include him, I'm really hoping that's gonna be the case. If not, that's fine, that's cool. But yeah, I feel like that's something that I would really want to see. But yeah, some of these statements, I feel like they're just little. Like, I feel like you got to take it with a grain of salt, because I feel like they're little hints as to the opposite of what they're actually stating, in my opinion. And then, so Resident Evil Requiem is expected to sell better than Resident Evil Village. And this is something I truly believe is going to be the case, because of the fact that with Resident Evil Village, yeah, it was a very anticipated game. I purchased it without even playing 7. So, you know what I mean? I wanted to play it, just kind of see what the story was and everything like that. And I got into it, man. I liked it a lot and it was very fun. Now, people were saying that Resident Evil 7 was more uh like um like a Resident Evil kind of 2 aspect of playing Resident Evil, where it's more horror aspect. and Resident Evil 8 was closer to 4, where it became more centered. And I gotta say, I believe that being the case. Now with Resident Evil Requiem, they're going back to the horror aspect, which I very much appreciate and enjoy because of the fact that I like getting scared with these games, or at least having kind of like that eeriness to them, where you're in that survival horror aspect where you got to try to survive as well as possible. So seeing that they're going that route, I feel like is going to help this game a lot, as well as the fact that they're returning to Raccoon City. Like I said before, it showed the aftermath of what happened to Raccoon City from Resident Evil 3 with the nuke kind of hitting it, and I feel like that leaves so much room for players to kind of want to come back and see what happened to one of the cities that we've grown to know and love. You know what I mean? So seeing what happened with Raccoon City and the aftermath, I feel like is something that people are gonna really look forward to, which is gonna help in sales for older fans to be like, all right, let's see what happened, and then newer fans that have gotten more into like the remakes and stuff like that. So I'm excited to kind of see what's gonna happen. And then this is one of the statements I wanted to go over as well. So with Requiem, we decided to make sure it was scary until the end, but to put more details and be more specific. It's not about scaring people the entire way, but using elements of non-horror to improve the horror. For example, you have horror, but then you put a bit of action in there. By putting in the action, you make sure the player isn't thinking about the horror. The next horror part will scare more effectively than nonstop scares. And that's again where I'm kind of feeling like maybe they are going to be having it so that you can switch back between Leon and Alyssa. So or I'm sorry, Grace. So I don't know, man. Like I stated, I love Leon's character, so I'm really hoping they have him included in this, and I feel like that would be a cool way to kind of go about this game. But again, we'll just have to wait and see. And then, this is I think it was one of the statements we went over already, just kind of talking about Leon being a DLC character and everything like that. I have hopes, man. I think he's gonna be included, and then started way before Village. So this was pretty cool. Some of the last information I'm gonna just go over really quick. That yeah, it was stated that the development for this game has been 6 years in the making. So far. So I'm it just this leaves me so much more hopeful for this game because of the fact that it was even being worked on before Village. Now, obviously, with Village and with Resident Evil 7, they were kind of switching up the story and going for a new protagonist. But after seeing the route that they were going with this game, I feel like it makes sense because yes, it was a new protagonist and everything like that, but it feels like they were trying to do that in order to kind of continue on with the story and the franchise, to kind of give the new aspect of what they were going to be doing for like the zombies and everything like that with the mold. I forgot what it's called, what they call it again, but being able to go into the new direction, I feel like it was able to kind of switch off the main character, which was something I'm sure fans were able to appreciate a little bit, as well as use that to kind of push forward into what they wanted to go further with the franchise with that, which I thought was pretty cool. And then this is the last article I just wanted to go over really quick. So at first, Resident Evil Requiem was a much less scary game. So this was pretty cool. It was just discusses how the initial release they wanted to do kind of like a multiplayer title, but after hearing some of the information that they had received, especially after Village, they decided to go more of the horror aspect of it. And again, that's one of the things that has me excited, man. I'm really looking forward to being able to have Resident Evil go where it mainly lies, which is in horror survival. That stuff is just awesome to me. That's one of the things that got me into this franchise to begin with, and seeing that they're going that route is awesome, and I'm really excited. So yeah, man, just lots of run through. I know I kind of try to go as fast as I kind of could, just kind of skim through it as quickly as possible and give my thoughts. But I'm excited, man. I'm really looking forward to this game, and I'm really looking forward to what is gonna come of this game in the sense of what's expected to happen after this, because they are stating that a lot of people are expecting that this is gonna be kind of a little bit of the end of an era for the Resident Evil franchise in regards to what's come of the past in the games and everything, which is one of the reasons why we're going to Raccoon City. So I don't know, man. I'm just excited, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what's gonna come of this. So this has me really hyped, and I'm excited, man. I'm really excited for this. So if you guys can let me know your guys' thoughts in the comments, are you guys looking forward to this game, and do you think this is gonna be something worth picking up and is going to be a good staple for the Resident Evil franchise. So if you guys can let me know your guys' thoughts in the comments, if you guys could like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. If you guys have been watching this song, I really appreciate it. It means a lot. And yeah, until next time, I'm on out. Peace.